This is a cold blade light up demon slayer sword. I received this to review for free. It would cost you $45 if you wanted to purchase it. So in the box you have the blade of the sword, a sheath, a handle, looks like a belt loop, some other pieces, and a charging cable. It also includes a manual with assembly instructions. Alright, so I'm going to assemble this guy. Alright, the handguard does have a correct orientation. There's a little indent here that goes into the indent of the blade. You had to push it just a little bit to get it past that point. There is a black rubber spacer. You insert the blade into the handle, and it does have an orientation where there's a larger size and a smaller size. Right? Oh, I missed a step. You have to take this little plastic guy, which has grippy things, and attach the jagged fixing device to the blade. Alright, that fits on there like so. Then we take the handle, which has an orientation. The smaller side goes to the bottom of the blade. And apply a lot of force. Okay. We need to apply more force. All right, we got it in place and it automatically lit up. So to turn the blade on and off, there is the charging port, the USB-C charging port. It's capacitive touch sensitive, so you tap it twice and the blade turns on. You tap it twice, again, the blade turns off. So it does fit into the sheath very tightly. It takes a significant amount of force to pull that out if you push it all the way in. And there is absolutely no explanation of this guy, but I'm assuming it's a stand, a display stand. And it looks like these two pieces should snap into these two pieces, like so. Alright, there was no explanation of how to assemble that, but that's how you do it. Appears to be a display stand. Looks like it is specifically for the sheathed sword. So there's absolutely no instructions about how to wear the sword belt, but there is a picture in the manual that shows the belt going through this guy. So I'm assuming this guy goes around your sheath, something like that. The Velcro holds it in place, and then you have these buckles. I don't know, I might have it upside down. That's kind of your personal preference, I think, which way you want the buckles to buckle. And then you belt that around your waist. Okay, I have a 36-inch waist, and there is one extra dot on the belt here. Works pretty well. Okay, this is a little expensive for a play sword for a young child. An older child would definitely appreciate it. It is very plasticky. It would not stand up to actual sword play, but it looks pretty good. There is, you know, the nice knotwork here, and the light up blade looks nice, although you can see the individual lights if you do edge on. If you do the side, you can just see kind of the edge here, but edge on, it definitely has the individual lights there showing. So I think it's a pretty reasonable offering at this price point as a kind of display wearable costume piece. From a charging standpoint, they provide a USB-A to C cable. They say it takes 40 minutes to charge, 5 volts, 2 amps, and they basically say there's no light that turns on or off while it's charging. Just plug it in for 40 minutes and then unplug it. They say, specifically, don't leave it charged longer than 40 minutes. So I'm going to charge it up for 40 minutes. So first I have a USB-C cable to a USB-C power delivery charger. We're going to see if this guy will correctly negotiate power delivery charging. And the answer is no, it is not charging from a power delivery charger. So you will need to use a USB-A to USB-C kind of generic 5-volt cable, and so that way it won't have to negotiate the power delivery. So this cable just provides 5 volts. And plugging that in, the amp draw here, it's listed at 0.5 amps. That might be because it is fully charged from the factory. It said it required 5 volts at 2 amps, but it's definitely not drawing 2 amps right now. So we're going to let this guy charge up until either it stops drawing power or 40 minutes has gone past, because the manual says not to let it charge for longer than 40 minutes. All right, this guy's been 40 minutes and it has dropped down to 0 amps. So it does look like it completely turns off charging because it is drawing 0 amps right now, so I think it's probably safe to leave it plugged in after the 40 minutes is up, but it is fully charged now. So we're going to set it up in front of the time-lapse camera and see how long the sword will light up on a single charge. Alright, it's been about 2 hours, and this sword, although it's still lit up, is visibly not as bright as it used to be. So from the side, at night you could see the light, but it's not very obvious in the daytime. On the edge you can see it, but it's definitely dimmer than before. So I'm going to say this has about 1.5 hours of usable light in it. At night you're going to be getting a couple more hours after this, but it's definitely dimming down here. Alright, there are extremely faint lights still visible here, but the battery's basically all the way down. It is now 3:08 p.m. We started at 11, so, if it was dark out, you could still see that this sword had a little light coming out of it, but it's pretty much, just an hour to an hour and a half of lighting. Alright, I am in a completely dark room, and you can see there is some light coming out of this sword, but it really wouldn't be visible unless you were in the complete dark. So for usable light in the daytime, pretty much probably an hour, maybe an hour and a half of usable light. Alright, so the sword never really turned off, it just got dimmer and dimmer and dimmer. So it is pretty much completely used up. The lights are barely lighting up at all. So I'm charging it up, we're going to plug it in. It is taking now 0.5 amps. So it looks like you need a 5 volt at 0.5 amp supply to charge this guy. I've never seen it take more than half an amp here. So it's charging at 2.5 watts. We will check it, see how long it takes to charge up from empty and how much power it takes. Alright, this guy's completely charged down to 0 amp draw. It took in 194 milliamp hours, so that's at 5 volts. My guess is there's probably a 200 milliamp hour battery in there. Alright, so battery life on this guy, you're going to get this strong light performance for at least an hour, maybe up to 90 minutes. After that, it starts dimming. 4 hours in, you could barely see the little dots of light. If you took it into the dark, you could still see it being green, but it was nowhere near as bright as this. It took me about 200 milliamp hours at 5 volts to charge this guy up, so I think it's probably about a 200 milliamp hour battery in the hilt. You can basically count on about an hour to an hour and 30 minutes of bright run time, and after that it doesn't turn off, it just kind of fades dimmer and dimmer over time. Alright, so this is a nice prop to wear around. It's not really a display piece. They give you this stand so you could store it on display, but it's plastic. So I think at this price point it's a pretty reasonable cost for what you're getting. I'm pretty sure my son's going to enjoy it for his birthday, but it's not like a serious display piece.